Good morning, happy people. My name is Jay Song. Everything in this video is never financial investment or trade advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware it gets high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Wonderful. Look at Bitcoin. We talked about a shorting opportunity possibly coming up on Bitcoin soon. This is a 4-hour chart. I'm watching this parabolic curve. Just wanted to let you guys know what I'm watching for. Because of this bounce here, this new high, we're going to be using this as a new watch line. If you guys wanted to draw a more accurate watch line right now for some of the next stuff, watch that. That's a look at a 4-hour chart. When we look at the daily chart, we can see we're still underneath this area. Okay. We can see the volume starting to slow down here. A concern I have is that we're going to be in this area for just a little bit of time. The reason I believe we're going to be in this area for a little bit of time is when I turn on, I think it's a 4-hour chart. At this moment right up here for this high bar, we had a lot of volume still. So don't be surprised when prices come up and play here and challenge just a little bit longer. We had one more challenge up to that area, but a very low volume after that. Look for a few more challenges over the next maybe a few days. It looks like this is going to be what, maybe March 20th, okay, somewhere around here. But if the volume still is high, look for a breakout and above. There's a sword cut based on our current smaller watch line, the one we talked about, one of the ones we talked about in class, and we talked about the larger watch line on top in this downtrend for Bitcoin. So this is where the big health comes in. This is where some of the buys are along this track. And this is some of the more immediate weaknesses that we see. But again, with this high volume that we've seen in the 4-hour chart, don't be surprised if we're playing up here still longer before we're able to really take any accurate shorts. Just to make sure you're safe, you're probably going to challenge one more at the higher numbers as these come down. Right now, tomorrow, this week is 92.50. 92.50. Okay. I don't know if we're going to get that breakout because the volume's really decreasing here, but I'm just letting you guys know where the next weaknesses are going to be. There, in this case, after this was broken and we come down, the next one is going to be here. So I'm updating this map from what we talked about on Saturday. Here was the weakness underneath this current watch line. That's when it was triggered. We came down here. Okay. So now I'm just going to, oh, that shouldn't be green. That should be red. I'll borrow this one. Okay. So as an update for some of the people who are watching Bitcoin on a more smaller scale, look for something like this to be the case. Now I'm still looking for 75 to be hit because of the increase in volumes, or the basically in the volume what we're seeing at these lows. We're looking to see prices still come lower, but we need the trade to trigger by breaking of the new watch lines, which is going to be this one here. Okay, so I'm going to be watching that one and paying attention. When that one triggers, I'm going to be looking to come low to about 75, and this is the number I'm looking for, 75.83. Okay, so I'm looking for something like that, somewhere around 75. Okay, and I think I'm going to leave that with there for your Bitcoin. If you guys want to recreate some of these lines, you can. This is a 4-hour chart. All right. Did anybody have any questions about Bitcoin and any of the images that I showed today?
I have a comment.
Yeah, what's your comment?
Hey, I think Robin Cunningham a couple days ago, watching him, he had talked about he saw bear in a bull or something. I'm trying to remember everything. He saw Bitcoin coming down to around 75, 76,000.
Oh, really?
Just, yeah, and then I think he saw the bull come storming through the door and took off or something up. My memory's a little foggy here, but I'm just something like that. So it looks like it's coming down one more time.
Okay.
I remember him saying 75, 76,000 area, and then the bull comes storming through the door, knocks it down, and Bitcoin takes off. Maybe somebody else could get it exactly, but that seems about what I heard.
Wow. Triple J says it will be 72 to 75K. That's good. We have, thank you, Wayne's World. Appreciate you. Thank you for collecting that information for me. I have 71 to 77,000. Why is that a dot? That should be a comma. I have 71,000 based on one of my thunder cuts, which is part of a range. It's a bit rangy on where some of my lines or oscillations that are active form these blocks. So for example, if this is our bottoms here and here, and this is our tops here and here, and they're both powerful, they converge, and where they converge, I draw in a yellow area that generally has a black border, and that's called the thundercut. And you guys know this from our thundercut module in our lessons page. Just type in lessons for you who are in our community as dive members. It's this range right here, 72 to 75. So that's one extra backup support, and we look where they intersect. Now right now we already dipped somewhere in there down to 76,000 on March 11th. But if we're going to hit there more in a proper way, I'm actually looking at 75 to be a more exact or closer to exact area. I believe that's where we're going to be hitting, somewhere along that track. Okay. So watching and pay attention to that. It's very possible that's going to be triggered fairly soon. But don't be surprised if you get a surprise spike up to 92 or somewhere a little bit higher, not so distant future. So there's a very wide spreads. And you should know this already because the candle is about this long. Okay? So when you see those candles that are about that long, you have to give way for you to do it. So if your stops are so tight that you can't even take one single candle, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Please be careful. If you're here, you can see where the maximum drawdown should be, not just based on the watch line alone, but the average spread. Meaning in the 24-hour period, it's not unlike the market to bring prices so far up and so far down in a single day. Oh, this has never happened before. It has happened before. It has happened before, quite a bit. So please be careful when you see these kinds of things, okay? So I'm just showing you, if you take those distances, an average thing, just draw some of those average boxes, and then you can get a good feel about where the highs and lows are, especially when they match the market. Don't be surprised if you see strange spike and then prices still come back down, because that's what they can do. The market was coming down, came right up, came right back down. Did you see that? It was coming down, came right up and right back down. You telling me that can't happen again? It happens all the time in the market, especially if you're some of the newbies to the markets. That stuff happens all the time. So if you're so leveraged that you can't take a move to 92,000 and you're in a short position, you're over trading. I'm letting you guys know. If you're so leveraged, you cannot take a swing to 92.5 before your account is margined or liquidated. You're over trading. You need to take smaller positions. You're gambling. You got to be careful, and don't be afraid to take a loss and cut your trades down to size. Don't overtrade. That's what I mean by overtrading, okay? You need to be aware that this kind of range happens quite a bit. Think about this one. Price was here at 101,000 and came all the way down to 91 in a single 24-hour period. Okay? I'm not making this up. Just draw boxes around these average trading candles and see how quickly price can move in some of these directions. Here's another one right here. Price was trading at 99 and went all the way to 109,000. In a short while, we were all the way back at 97. You basically went to 110,000 and came back to 97,000 in just a matter of a week. So this is what I'm trying to get at, okay? All right, so don't be surprised. And I'm not saying that we're going to hit 90, but right now that volume on that 4-hour chart was leading me that we should be playing in here for the next few days or something like that. In the overall grand scheme, it's not that bad. On a daily chart, it's not that bad. Okay, and we're building technically under these areas, which is still, in my opinion, bearish. Okay, I'm looking to continue to draw our new watch line to try to get our next trade triggered, and that's going to be a very powerful thing, but it's not triggered yet. For our next big trade is not triggered yet, just the small ones here. And then you can do your DP projection based on whatever was our last event. The last event principles are going to teach you those angles and duplicate those angles, bring them to the bottom side, and then make sure you take your your target accordingly. Okay, make sure you take your target accordingly. Don't be afraid to get in, get out of your trades, be and use wisdom. All right. Triple J says, had that word for a while. Also 79K is hit. Yes, our 79K number was hit. Thank you, Triple J. All right. Any other questions, comments, Bitcoin, before we look at some crypto study? Questions, comments, Bitcoin? My friends, if you missed the word room portion today, I want you to listen to it. Go back and replay the video later on. It's powerful. All right. USDC.D is another stablecoin. By the way, I'm excited about the Ripple stablecoin. RLUSD, that's what I'm excited about later on. You're going to see it take a big chunk of, in my opinion, I believe, it's going to take a big chunk of the stablecoins. Now, if you don't know, stablecoins are basically the token. You can think of them like the casino chips of the crypto universe. Aren't they a lot like the stablecoins, Wayne World? Would you agree? What people do when they go... Wayne?
What's that?
Are the stablecoins in the crypto world a lot like casino chips?
Yeah, I used to work in a casino for 10 years.
Yeah. When you go to a casino, you exchange cash for chips.
Correct.
And you use those chips to play at the table. Now, it does a few things consciously. It takes away it's the same way like in movies, when you're seeing the hero fight people, it disseminates from reality in a way, because you're not losing cash, you're losing a chip. And that little barrier there between cash separates you from reality. In a movie, they wear masks to dehumanize the bad guys. You'll see the bad guys often wear masks, even sometimes when it's unnecessary. You see this principle all the time in every movie. They'll either make him an alien, a robot, or a human with a mask. So when the hero really punches somebody, he's not seeing somebody who's a father of 3 children who's just working as a mercenary. He's seeing the person, he's dehumanizing it. And it's a separation from reality. It's a technique used quite often in society, especially with anything that's illusion related. And the crypto market is also somewhere in there. In very few spaces are you able to just trade directly with cash. I know Coinbase has plans to release some of that so you can actually just start trading with crypto. I think it's already been implemented, or it's going to be implemented soon, where you can just trade immediately with cash. But these illusions are created, and some of them have dangers because of that. One of the illusions that's created is that there's money in the bank when there's really nothing in the bank. So, for example, if USDT, Tether is one such casino chip or token. You put money in cash to fund your exchange. And with that exchange, you buy these casino chips. In other words, you buy one of the stable coins, USDC, USDT.D. There was another one that was UST, and it turned out really, really bad. Basically, you put this money and they say, okay, yeah, we have your money. But as long as new people are coming over, a Ponzi scheme is allowed to be created. And a Ponzi scheme is where, as long as you have new people coming in, you have this bulk of money. So if anybody's leaving the door, you don't have to exactly give them the money that they came in the door with. You can actually give them John and Peter and Joe's money. And you can actually take the money and go spend it yourself. As the founder, one of the founder's wife, painted in her very cryptic image, she said, the head of Tether, the wife painted a picture covered in blood and said, we're not federal and we don't have the reserve. Some of you guys remember when I did that video and I showed you guys her painting. We're not federal and we don't have the reserve. It is very important to keep your eye on this tsunami that's going to be coming. Basically, she's saying, we don't got the money in the bank. We're just giving you money that's coming in. And as long as there's money coming in and not everybody withdraws at once, you're fine. Runs on the bank and banks collapse because the money is not really in the bank. It's just new money coming in, as we even seen from the movie It's a Wonderful Life. You guys remember that movie? There was a run on the banks in the 1920s and 30s. Everyone was scared, so they pulled out their money. But it's a game of like hot potato. Some people are going to get left holding the hot potato and they're out. Some people didn't withdraw their money when it was time, and by the time the bank had to pay out people, they didn't have the money in the reserve. So the game came crashing down. One such example of this was some of the manipulation that was related to UST, stablecoin. Everybody thought that it's 1-for-1 with the dollar. You put in $1 and you have 1 UST. But then a few weeks before the collapse happened, the peg happened, depegging. Depegging is a term that says it's not exactly 1-for-1. It's slightly below. It's 99 cents or 97 cents. I think it was 97 cents in the case of UST. And what happened, it was trailing at 97. People saw that something's wrong. Why can't it be a dollar? Why did it not go back to a peg? Because the money's not in the bank. Shouldn't it be audited? Tether hasn't agreed to an audit. And I don't think the other I don't know if the other stable coins has, but Tether's audit, when they did do one, failed, and they haven't agreed to one for a long time. And there's trillions-dollar market. It's a $1 trillion market. So now they're saying, well, we don't exactly have cash, but we have cash equivalents. What is that? We have Bitcoin. Okay, what if Bitcoin falls? We can't pay everybody. That's what happens. Not everybody's going to get paid. But why do we still use it? Because it's the casino chips. What other options do we have? That's why I like the Ripple coin that's coming out. Ripple's module is based on instant liquidity. What is what you get? Because the transaction is closing so fast, there's no room for error. There's no room to fudge the numbers. There's not a room to float the check. My mom used to, back in the day, unfortunately, she was trying to hide the finances from my dad and how bad the finances actually were. My dad was very irresponsible in the sense where he never wanted to audit the finances until their pastors told them, you need to get on the same page regarding money. But it wasn't until reality blew up. When we showed up at the grocery store with a full cart and my mom wrote a check and they're not accepting the check anymore because her last check bounced. And basically we were stealing groceries in the same way. This is called check kiting in banking industry. Check kiting is where you write a check and you deposit it, but the money's not there in the check. But by the time that it's going, you get another check, sometimes from another financial institution, and you deposit that check. But there's no money there. So then you take this money out that you just got in cash and you put that in the bank and you create a loop. And you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now this was popularized even just recently. There was a lot of foolish people who were getting caught in the Chase Bank. They were calling it the Chase glitch. And it was popular among certain people. Yeah, they were going to the ATM doing this basically check kiting. It's a fraud. I used to work at banks. I know we did classes about this stuff. And what they would do is they would also do a similar thing. They went to the ATM and they would say, hey, ATM, give me this. And they would deposit basically some kind of deposit that wasn't audited. And the bank would say, okay. And then they would withdraw the money and they would take that money and then they would do it later. And they just said, oh, it's a glitch. And they would keep doing it over and over. But a few days later, Chase got wise and said, where's that money? Pay up. And then their accounts would be overdrawn by several hundreds of dollars. And as long as they couldn't keep new money coming in to cover those checks, they were basically replicating check kiting. Now, why am I saying this? You're saying, I don't care about check kiting. I care about cryptocurrency. Don't you understand? One day, the game is going to come crashing down and the account is going to show negative. With stable coins, with the markets, with robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's going to happen. It's already happening in government right now. All the funding that's being used, it's going to come to a halt because we're going to realize how much fraud is happening. We already seen the beginnings of some of this. This is a type of wealth transfer because it stops the bleeding. And you're going to need to see it. It's painful. A lot of people don't like it. But we're seeing the beginnings of that with what's happening with the DOGE situation regarding Elon Musk, the auditing, the people. Listen to the voices who are trying to say stop it in the government. Don't look. It's somebody once quoted, they said, it's not so much the funding to them. It's the fraud and abuses. They uncovered $110 billion funding for an immigration place that was supposed to house migrants and do all this stuff. The whole place has been abandoned and empty for months. It's just receiving money, millions and millions, but they found that the whole place is abandoned. This is the kind of stuff where the money's not in the bank. It's the same principles we see. It's the same scheme over and over again. Look for it in society. Look for it in the markets that matter to you, and you're going to find a way to position yourself for wealth transfer. For example, UST was heavily tied to the coin Luna Classic. Luna Classic was trading at $118. When Tether depegged, UST, it fell from grace to 5 cents. I'll show it on the chart real quick. UST. It should show. Here's a look at Kraken. Look at. Okay. UST was trading here at what? $1. April 2022. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. And Luda Classic was trading at $180. Okay, during those days. It was heavily, this was a stable coin of choice. This was like Tether. Imagine that's Tether. And all of a sudden, one day, the game is up. We depeg and we go to here, 99 cents. Something starts being wrong here. With spikes down to 95. Then we come back up to 99 and hover around 99.8 and hover around 99.5. Then all of a sudden, the game's over. The bank runs begin. We shoot down to 75 cents. The next day we come back up. Everything's fine. We got the money in the bank. No, we don't. 94 cents. And then we come back down all the way this time to 50 cents. But in that same day we come back up. The next day we come back up. See, we're fine. We're at 87 cents. The game is ending. The very next day, whoom, we plummet again. But not as low as last time. 24 cents. Then we keep going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And this is a market crash. Until we hit not even 5 cents. 0.005. 0.005. Billions were made on shorts. Billions were lost. It was a market to the tune, or sorry, I said millions. It was a market to the tune at one time of $202 million just trading in there. People were cashing out $202 million worth of USD. Okay. That is crazy. And Luna suffered for it. Luna fell from grace. It was a crypto that was trading at 100 and it fell all the way to, I think, Luna Classic just fell to 5 cents. One of those. It fell. It was just insane. Markets crash when these kinds of things happen. And so we pay attention to stable coins as well for their depegging, but you're also going to pay attention to the dominance. And so I just want to keep in mind, keep an eye on that tsunami, all right? Keep an eye on those tsunamis when the stable coins get exposed. The more we see exposure, the more we're going to need to have these discussions. I don't think it's so pertinent now, but sometime in the future, Tether is going to be gone. A lot of the stable coins, unless they're regulated and audited, they're probably not going to be long in the world. They're not going to be here in the way we see them. You're going to see us move to things like RLUSD, things that are audited, things that are backed by gold. The money has to be in the bank, or the house of cards will fall and cryptos will be affected, especially Bitcoin. People wondering, how can Bitcoin just fall from grace? It may happen at a time when the algorithms fail and we see behind the veil. It may find that can happen because of hacks. It can also happen because of exposure. Getting a chance to look behind the curtain can bring the house of cards falling down. And when you see one card fall down, the whole cards fall down. It can happen by accident. I saw a video of the man who was he was getting exclusive access to see them build a giant tower. And this guy said, I spent weeks building this. And he's, wow, that's cool. Would you care to comment? And he was like, yeah. And so he commented, and he's, wow, let me look around. And he's walking around holding the microphone, and the cord hits the bottom of the cards. Did you see that one? The cord hit the bottom of the cards as he's walking around the circle. Like, the guy's not thinking, hey, watch the cable. And he walking around, and the cord knocks the cards down, and they all start falling. And the guy's just, the host was like, the news reporter was like, sorry? Sorry's all they're going to give you when the house of cards falls. So keep an eye on those things. It's wisdom to keep an eye. Amen. All right. USDC.D is a dominance chart. It acts a lot like the USDT chart. The USDT.D. In the sense that it represents how people feel about the market. When this chart is going up, cryptos are falling because it represents people moving out of the games and into their casino chips. It represents people moving out of their safe positions and out of their dangerous positions and into safety or into cash positions. They're sitting on the sidelines. When this moves down, they're moving out of those chips. They're spending their chips at the table. So the casino's making money. The game's going. The games are popular. In this case, the casino chips are popular, not the games. When this chart is moving up, look for the markets to be going down. And when this chart begins to turn down, look for the markets to be going up. Instead of trying to gauge and read 20 charts to try to see what's happening, you can just summarize it in the USDT.D charts. You can summarize it in the USDC.D charts, because these .D, or in other words, these dominant charts, will help us get a pulse on which direction the market is going overall and when those things are about to change. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, this is a USDT.D chart. We're going to look at this quickly on a weekly level, and we can see a few things happening for us here. For example, there was an uptrend that was about right here. It was during these areas where weaknesses began to appear in the market. If they were happening on strong volume days, especially the big, we might even construe this as push and a strong move to the downside. But it was during these days we wouldn't expect markets to go up very high. Then we could also draw our new watch lines, which would be created based on some of the shapes that are being created in those down moves, such as here. So we would know that we're only looking for this to move down. So this is where we would want to be, therefore, bullish in the markets. If we were to pick a chart and look from October to around December 24th, we might see markets having some good days, with this area right here representing another area of health on this chart. Now, if there's health on this chart, again, that means the markets would be looking to go down. So we could see that, well, from a weekly level, things might be looking to be a bit negative in January 6th. Okay, so this is how we can use this a bit to our advantage. Now, the last time I looked at this, or this one on CryptoCap, was September of 2022. So I'm going to try to see if I have another USDC chart, which I may. And then I'm going to give you some information about what the direction of the markets are going based on this. USDC.D. Oh, yep, it's only one. We'll use that one. Yep. Okay, right now it's about 2.16% of the market. It's not as big as Tether. Okay, I think Tether's around 6% on average. But it's something. Here was something we were watching back in 2022. We were watching this on our old charts in 2022, and we saw this large trend line here. And it didn't take a rocket scientist to continue drawing this trend line out. We drew it as long as we were watching it back then, but it changed about right there, which, wouldn't you agree? Around 5.7%, 5.77. Now at 5.77, that's when our first weaknesses started appearing in this chart. This is where we can apply some of the techniques within sword method. This might be a time to start looking for this to come down, and therefore the markets to be somewhat bullish. Okay, this was an end of a bearishness. So if you look back on September 22 for some cryptos, you can see that might be a time when something started rising to, in this case, what is it, March? Let's do a quick test to see how strong this might have been, especially the more immediate accelerated adjustment. So we're going to look at from June 2024 to October 2022. Let's pull up a side chart. Hold on. Let's look at Bitcoin, for example. Let's delete all of this. All right. So again, the time we're going to be looking is right about here, September 2022. Okay. I'll try to make these line up perfectly. All right. It's about right here. Okay. And there it goes. Okay. So somewhere September 22 is here. Now again, it would have been helpful to have and know what happened after this weakness point on this stable coin. Weakness entered this crypto. We're looking for this to go down. Therefore, we're looking for the markets to go up. Look at what happened from here to here until the next until the next accelerated adjustment. Health came through, which was approximately somewhere in May of 2024, somewhere around May. Look at this. It's exactly the top of the market, or very almost close to the exact at the top of the market, right about right there. From here to here, the market was moving up when this was moving down. This is what I'm talking about as a more direct correlation. Okay, this is that time period. Okay. So you can use the findings that you find in a chart like this to help determine when the reversals will happen in the markets. Okay, now I'm going to do one more thing. Okay. Do we have volume on this chart? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay. I'm going to now see if we can find potential targets on the low side that would highlight any of the findings, even this bottom here, maybe. All right, so let's just draw a few things just as a little quick case study, and then we're gonna go look at different stuff like cryptos and stuff. But I want to highlight these things for you quickly. I'm gonna pull up a monthly chart, and then I'm gonna do our target fixed range volume profile. Okay. And I have a few targets that are of note. There's one, there's two, and let me add the swing target. All right, based on our lessons that I teach you in target system, you guys can perform this analysis. I'm not going to teach how to do it today. You guys can type that in. Type in lessons. It's going to pull up our lessons page with our target analysis. Look how accurate this is. If you measure just from here to there, it's going to give you this. How accurate is this? Months in advance, you're able to see where the supports and resistances are, where you're going to have bounces, or where you're more likely to have bounces. Isn't that fantastic? Price came all the way down to here at 1.1%, then it bounced, and where we are at right now on the underside of this target. Okay, pay attention to these areas if you're looking for reversals to happen in the market. So this might have been a more proper bottom of the market. When was it at? It was March of 2024. Now, what happened in March of 2024? When we bounced out of this area, it was very close to the top. We didn't really go much farther until what? All the way until this year. Or until what? July, August, September, October. Somewhere towards the end. That was around November of 2024. So that was the market. That was basically the tops of the market. Ain't that fantastic? This is fan-diddly-tastic. It's nice to have an extra set of eyes on the market, right? This would be how that works in real life. Okay, so now let's do something. Let's say, okay, that's well and good and dandy. You showed me that it affects the market, or it interprets some of the market. Even if it doesn't directly affect it, it does play a part. How can I use that to make money, save money? We can do it again. Right now we have a target on the underside. What are the odds that we're going to reject in this area? For number one, when we're the underside of these targets, it's starting to look good. At the moment, we're looking to squash. But I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to zoom in now on this smaller section, and I'm going to do the same analysis that I just did. Now, because we have two bottoms, instead of using this one, I'm going to use the second bottom. Okay, I'm going to measure from here to here this time, and I'm going to look for targets along that track, wherever they may be. What are the odds that they might overlap this area here? They're quite high. Let's take a look to see what we find. Okay, this is what we're going to do next. Now, we're going to just label this monthly chart so we know what we're looking at. Monthly, and then I'm going to put dash 2.54 to 2.16. So if you're trying to replicate my work later on, let me do the hard work for you right now and just type in these numbers, or make a box that has those numbers on them. Okay, you'll take a screenshot in just a moment. 1.27. This is how we're going to track the markets. Okay, to 0.91, and make sure I'm writing the word monthly so I know how I found that data. All right, and then the swing target is around 1.01, 1.90, and now that means that there's still energy on the bottom side of this range. Sometimes you hit the top side, sometimes you hit the bottom side, but where the swing target overlaps, I often look for bounces on those areas. Okay, so I pay attention to the swing side as a confirmation. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for that. But so far, we're left with a picture that looks like this. Now let's see what else the painting will reveal in just a moment. Okay, so let's go now to isolate this segment a little bit more. I'm going to go to a 2-week chart. So give myself a few more candles. All right, now I'm going to give you some powerful things in here in just a moment, but let's do this. Okay, here it is. Stay with me. I'm going to give you basically the market forecast part 2. There it is. Now, according to this, where are our targets? They are here. This is my market forecast number 2, but it's private. Okay, this is private. This one's not on YouTube. And here, based on our target system. Now we're going to do one more. I won't do that small one. I'm going to do the swing target now. Based on our 2 largest swings, it's going to be this side right here. I'm going to borrow this one. It's somewhere about right here. That's going to be our halfway marker between these 2 swings. About 50%. It's somewhere about right there. So basically the lower side of this area. All right, there it is. Let's see how well we are doing. Okay. Now, since we're not going to really use this side, since I measured this second side, but it's going to be right there, and then the swing is going to be here. But already that's forming showing us it's quite a nice rejection area, and it may still continue to be in play. If we get slammed down, coming back down, that could be still very bearish for this chart, bullish for the markets. And then we got that another target way up in the sky. So now I'm going to fade these away a bit to denote that they're part of the weekly charts. And I'm going to give some numbers on here. Weekly chart. I'm not saying that it's going to rise this far, but it's great to know in advance where those numbers are coming up, just in case we need them as a backup safety net. 319. All right. Now after this, I'm going to paint one more picture for you using the foundational area, and I'm going to show you where it's very likely the market will reverse based on this data. 214. $1.94. 1.80. Weekly. All right, so those are going to be some numbers here. Weekly. Okay. So we're left with an image that looks like something like this. Overall, for the month, we're getting squashed back down. This is a resistance area here. Okay, this isn't a resistance area here. This is the top side of the resistance area. So is it unlikely for us to close here for the end of the month? No, not so unlikely. We may actually do that. If things go really bad, we may even spike up to there. But before we go, I'm going to show you 2 more areas. You've heard me talk about this quite a bit. One of the most important areas when using our art, the sword method, to gauge a down move is the foundational area. The foundational area is this side here. Okay, what happened in this side is what we pay attention to the most. Okay, we teach this in lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 gives us a downtrend at this angle. So we're going to pay attention to that angle very strongly. We're going to stretch it out. Okay, I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm also going to double check the wicks. Okay, and I'll make that kind of thin. But for the most part, this is going to be the angle we're going to be really watching for. I'm paying attention not to break the lines crossing through the candles, and I'm also want to look to see if I have wick match. I don't really have wick match much, I don't think so, but it's about right there. Okay, so that means that if we really get above here, the market's going to go very south really quickly. This is when this chart goes up, your cryptos come down. So I'm going to be paying attention to this as part of the map. Okay, so that's going to be something we're going to need. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to try to bring it to our lowest energy centers. Now in the foundational area already, often acts like a reverberation, but without much verification, these are, I'm just letting you know, this is going to be some areas I'm going to be watching out for. These are the 2 areas I'm watching. as part of the reverberation. So let me show you what I mean by that. They act like a resistance. See? They may not be the full bottom of the key angle or the phantom, the full oscillation, but oftentimes they give us clues about the rejections of those areas. So basically, if I take my key angle, which is that area up there, and I'll label it so you guys know that what I'm talking about. We teach this all in our lessons, how to do these. Key angle, or KA. If I take that key angle and I bring it like a ruler or a measuring line, it often tells me what the angle of the entire oscillation is going to be if I'm having rejections at those areas. In this case, I should be rejecting here, and I am somewhat. I do have some concerns that two of those candles closed just a little above it. Okay. I also don't have any response. We didn't come all the way down to here. So this tells me it's very possible another energy is at work and at play. If you do your homework and you're still not seeing all the responses you're looking for, it lets you know something's up, something's wrong. And you want to pay attention or investigate to see what might be the oscillation. We may actually be dealing with, therefore, a pattern that looks something like this. Maybe the bottom is a flat. Okay, and if I see flats, I want to look for flats to reverberate. Okay, but without any strong evidence of reverberation just yet, I won't know the answer. So I'm going to continue painting the map until it gets clearer and clearer. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. So now I have flats. I can reverberate my flats up here to the top side and even up to the wick. Okay. Good. I don't have any verification in the past, but I do have some evidence that I'm getting squashed and I wanted to stop. Look and see this candle right there? See that one? We got squashed all the way back down there. So this is evidence that the flats may be active, is what we call in our flats analysis. Now this is an advanced analysis, but I'm doing so many things just to paint a proper picture. Some of the other evidence that flats may be at work is in this old area here, bouncing or trying to bounce in here and then cracking through. It may be the flat, right? That might be something we're looking at. If this is the case and flats are at work and we've done our homework, this is going to be one of the next flats areas we're watching. Okay. Another example of this happening is here as well. Okay. I'm going to show you. This is a very small flat. We stop here, break down, come back up, hit the top of that flat. Here, therefore, we're going to be looking at this area where we're currently at today as part of that flat resistance. Okay, does that make sense? This is just another layer of the cake that's telling us the markets are probably going to reverse. So I want to be really careful right now taking some long short positions longer than a week or two. I want to be really careful taking some long short positions because we may be looking to reverse. And that would mean this goes down and your cryptos go up. So we got to be careful taking long-term bearish positions anytime until we're really above here. Anything we do that's bearish or short-term shorting and stuff like that, let it be quick to your targets. Okay, let it be quick to your targets. So I'm going to show things like that, okay? Now, one more, let's go down to a daily chart, and I'm going to show you just a little bit more on how we can calculate. In the same way, on a smaller scale, we can tell when it's time to get out of shorts. When this is going down, your cryptos are going up. This is going up, your cryptos are going down. This is when it's okay to short cryptos. Okay? This is going to be how we use those foundational areas on when it's okay to short. If you don't believe me, watch this. January 10th, January 17th, around there is the start of this moving up. Look what happens to Bitcoin around these times. Let's see what happened to Bitcoin. This is a daily chart, so let's change this to a daily chart. Okay. Look what happens to Bitcoin around these times. This is moving up approximately here to here. What happened to Bitcoin during that time? Did you see it? This is the reversal. When the reversal starts happening, approximately here. Okay? Are you watching? Wouldn't it be nice to know what Bitcoin's going to be doing from another perspective? People go to the doctor, right? And they ask for what? A second opinion? I'm giving you a way to find a second opinion. This is the same way I use .D. You want a second opinion? We're doing USDC.D. This is one of those ways you can see it. Does that make sense? Okay? So instead of just trying to gauge what Bitcoin's doing, you can see in advance things changing in how people feel about the markets, because that's what these casino chips represent. That's what the stable coins represent. The sentiment, the dominance, people moving in or out of that. How do they feel about the market? And here they're moving into crypto stable coins. They're cashing out their chips. They're walking away from the table. They're walking away from the market. The market's going to fall. When you see this going down, they're buying in chips. Okay, the chips are getting stronger. So that means they're going to be walking, oh, I'm sorry, not they're buying in. When this is going down, don't mean to confuse you. When this is going down, they're leaving their chips, they're walking to the table, they're putting their chips on the table. The casino or the market is going to be more packed and full. Okay, we're going to see cryptos rising. That's how we view what's happening with dominance. Okay, all right, so this is a more practical example of what I just showed you on a larger, much larger scale. I'm showing you this now, okay? So now let's go to it one more time so you can see what's more immediate. Okay, so let me just fade that away, and I'm going to show you. Wow, Jason, I'm glad you showed me all that, but how does that help me make or save money today? Now, this is never financial investment or trade advice of any kind. It's always for comedic purposes only, but watch this in addition to all the comedy I've given you before already. I told you earlier in the video, and I gave you this image. It is that one. In 2022, I gave you guys this image with this trend line. And I said, watch this. This is going to tell you when this is up and it's time to start getting in the market. When this starts going down. And I was accurate, was I not? Okay, I gave you that years ago, right? I gave you that years ago, 2022. Showing you where the top of the market may appear based on the trend. Sometimes the trend's parabolic. And as I demonstrated, when we did the side-by-side comparison, I was right. Okay, when this came down, your crypto came up. Now I'm telling you again, pay attention to this. It's a smaller one, much smaller. It's in the areas of all that we mapped out where the rejection is supposed to happen, right? The rejection is supposed to happen there. Right? Did we map this out together, right? We did that together just a few minutes ago. Now I'm showing you how it's all coming together. This is the area where we're more likely to start rejecting, and this is the curvature by which we're going to. So we can already map what the price is, so you're the first to know when it's time to start being bullish. When this crypto goes down, it's time to get in. I'm going to write on this circle right here. Look for weakness. I'm just going to say this. Weakness area. Look to be bullish markets. Now, to denote this a little bit better, I'm going to give this a green border because we know it's weakness, but we have to think inversely. We have to think upside down, right? So I'm going to give it a strong green border. It's hard to see against that teal background, but that's basically what I want to let you know. When this happens, this is going to be bullish for the markets, and you'll be the first to know it, all right? I hope this helps somebody. Because you're wondering, is it time to strike? As I let you guys know, a couple weeks ago, a friend asked me, is it time to enter the markets? And I said, wait. I told her, wait. She said, I want to know, can I enter the cryptos? What cryptos should I buy? I said, wait to buy cryptos right now. Wait. Crypto Night called me up the other day. We had a great conversation with him and Michael Lawrence. Private conversation. And I said, oh, by the way, you're going to be looking for March to be bad, probably until the end of March. But we got to we got some areas where we're watching to see things turn around. But right now, I'm not looking for them to turn around and be bullish so much. I'm letting that play out. Okay? So, again, some of our current tops here and up there. Okay? Things can still play out for a bit of time. This will move up the track. Okay? To denote this, I'm just going to duplicate this again, just to show you where you're supposed to be looking for the markets to be bullish. Anytime underneath here to up there. And the exact numbers are if it's anytime next week and you see the markets crash right now or go further, you're going to see 3.72. And right now it can happen as early as 2.5. That's going to continue rising as time goes on. Right now it's 2.17. Here is 2.775, somewhere around here. And it's going to keep going up and up. When this crosses over and price fades over to this side, when it's coming over to this side, guys, you know it's time to change. And it's most likely to happen somewhere in this vortex, which is that crevice, or of these boxes where they meet, which is right now anytime in this area is a range. So it's not far away. We're going to be looking to get into cryptos, but not yet. Okay. Do I have any questions, comments regarding this section that I'm teaching you about how I feel, at least about the markets? And then, by the way, when we get up here, this is where you see a big crash. Okay, this is your crash. When this comes to this side, it means that things are getting bad. Okay, same with USDT.D. It has a similar thing up there. When you see that starting to happen, just start thinking longer term. Okay, that's going to be bearish. All right, anyone else? Questions, comments? Look for strong bearish market for cryptos. Okay, I need to check the chat. I'm not looking at the chat. Okay. All right. Let's see. Triple J says, interesting you mentioned reversal. Abba spoke the other day reversal and used the word change. Channel 17, new beginning. 7 plus 1 equals 8 Purim, Passover. Abba spoke 6 Hebrew letter, Vav, numerical value 6. Pictograph meaning hook, nail, to connect, tent peg, attached to. And conjunction, prefix. The number 6 reveals we're connected to Adonai, or the beast in the flesh. Okay, thank you very much. I got one from Nolan. Just a reminder that you can enter USDT.D plus USDC.D, the symbol search and trading view, and it will automatically give you a chart that sums up the charts for both. Wow, that's good. You can make an average for both. That's good. And it will automatically give you a chart the same for both. Right now it shows about 7.4%. It may give a further picture of the whole market. Fantastic, Nolan. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, it appears that's all that's people are asking about for this. We can do more when it's time, but for right now, I think I'm going to leave you guys with just that. I'm only going to draw one more line, and we'll look at the rest of the cryptos on the list. Okay, I'm going to be watching that angle right there as well. That's going to be important for me. But it's not in our immediate circle. It's not in play. So I'm not so worried about that one right now. But that number is going to be closer to 1.3. So if I see a bull run coming to only 1.3, I'm going to be knowing that I'm going to be probably looking to take profits on crypto. If I see us getting below here, I'm going to be thinking, okay, I got some more time to play. All right. I love it. I love it. We know what to do. We know some of the game plan. It's working out pretty well. I'm excited. And we'll go from there. Okay. I won't spend long on this chart. I am going to add USDT.D so you guys can see where USDT.D is playing right now. Here's a weekly chart. This is where we're going to really make sure our angles are correct. As we hit our 5.65 and 5.55, we've had these numbers for months, by the way. I didn't expect we're all going to hit them, but we did. Ooh, look at this. Okay, I thought a big spike. Yep, we have our sword cut here, and that's where we're at. We're currently at the sword cut area. I'm not super bearish, but things are not looking so good. But this is where we're going to look to see if we can adjust these lines any bit. In this case, we're going to adjust this one angle slightly higher to account for that couple right there. And we're going to adjust it slightly higher here. So I'm going to bring it just about right there and see if I can adjust this angle ever so slightly. And it's there. All right. As far as a wick match goes, I don't think I have a wick match. Maybe somewhere here. And I'll just give it to you like that. Okay. Okay, so this is where we're going to be just a little bit more accurate. And I'll take that picture. And I'm going to write down up here USDT.D negative for crypto. Okay, that's going to be where it's negative for crypto. This territory here. Okay, that's negative for crypto. This is bullish for crypto. Any movements that are under here. Now, our next watch line is still underneath this area. We're not there. So we don't have any permission to be really bullish the market just yet. We're in this zone. This is a dangerous place to be in for USDT.D, or close to being dangerous. Okay, I don't know if this sword cut is going to be super strong, but it should have given me some rejection along that track, which it did a little bit, twice. Then another sword cut was formed in the same area, so I'm just continuing the same range. So overall, this should be a type of resistance, which means we are looking for a reversal at the moment. But be careful taking long short trades. Any short trade you do, let them be short, just in case we can't play in here long. And we come down, this is going to be bullish for the market. So remember, when this comes down, it's bullish for the markets. So any short trades, let them be quick. Okay, let them be very quick. Don't take very long-term short trades. In my opinion, be careful of long-term short trades until we have a proper permission to take negative types. We're not in there. That's the territory. We're just still within this zone here, okay? That's where you're playing at. Simple shapes. You are here, all right? So I'm going to write that down so you have a reminder. Be careful taking long-term short trades. Just, okay, long-term short trades. Let them be short. Okay. Let them should be short. Of course they're shorts. So if I'm shorting Bitcoin or I'm shorting anything, I need to be, their range has got to be tight until this is clear. Now we could still see the bullishness happen and fake outs. We can be bullish and come right back up and people be like, oh, is the market going up? Is it going down? Is it going up? Is it going down? And you're going to see that possibly play out, and it's going to shake out a lot of holders. This is the time you're probably going to see that some of the biggest shakeouts happen. And why? If there's actual buying going on, they want the retail market out of it. So don't be surprised if that's what happens. Remember, when this goes down, your more cryptos go up. When this goes up, your cryptos go down. And when you're caught between a rock and a hard place, be honest with yourself. Okay, if it's not looking good either way or the other, be careful. But if anything, I'm going to be more looking possibly for reversals, not too far out. Okay, not too far out. All right. I think that's going to conclude all of our images for USDT.D and USDC.D. Okay, we still got a little room to play up in there, and then we can see the game changing. All right, fantastic. USDT.D. All right, let's look at DOGE. Man, I love our maps. Looks like I got it on Bitfinex. Okay, where I do my DOGE map. Good. All right. Now I'm going to close my layout. I don't need Bitcoin at the bottom. That's cool. I can just keep Bitcoin up there. All right, good. All right, then we don't need this one from 2023. All right, here's one look at Doge. I have a few. I think I have 2 charts on Doge. This one needs to be updated. We don't need that one. Where's my other chart? This is an older one. Interesting. There's no match on here. That means there's another oscillation at work. Okay, it is flat. Yep. Maybe not. Okay, one moment, my friends. For Doge, it looks like we have a very interesting support here, and I want you to. I want to make a case really quick for this for flats right now. Okay, for flats. I put this stripe parabolic. Yeah. I have another map where I think I talked about that parabolic, but I'm on a monthly chart right now, and I want to look at the flats here. I think there's a case to be made for evidence that flats are more active in a larger way, such as back here, a little bit of support here, some support here, not so much evidence there, but there is some back here with this flat up there. Okay, there's some evidence that flats are playing a role, especially at the bottom. Now, if this is the case and flats are active, I want to make a good case. Now, ultimately, flats are not going to be super dominant because the angles are different. So we might be dealing with at least 2 different types of main energies. But if flats are one of them, the reason I'm mentioning this is because if we do come back down to here, we got to keep in mind the excess, okay? The principle of excess is something of a phenomenon that I've observed quite a bit in the markets. When you have a range that price has, but you find evidence in the past where you're playing so far out of those ranges, we have to tack them on to the bottom side of those ranges often. You'll often see that if price is sticking out, even if like maybe your analysis is like here, or if it's a cone shape, right? And price is for the most part playing there. But you see these moments where one price sticks out on one side. Often look for price to stick out on the other side. If it's in the past, look for it to come out again, because we need to tack on those traders. It doesn't change the game, but it's definitely something to be aware of for that type of oscillation. Now, the reason I need to say this about if the price is moving in somewhat of a flat oscillation, even for a temporary, as denoted by some of the multi-touch flat stuff going on here, I want to tack on that extra space. And when I tack on that extra space, look at the distance it gives me that matches this prophecy. It's somewhere here in this area where Prophet Robin's 4-cent number is. Okay, somewhere near that 4-cent number. I think that's interesting. I also have it as hidden battler support from a previous analysis. I also was currently looking at this, but the energy popping up and down on this side tells me that we may be dealing with another energy. So I'm going to try to, I believe it's mixed phantom is going to be the solution to this equation. I'll look at that in just a few moments. All right, let's go to a smaller time frame, but I just wanted to throw on some of those flats right now. All right, now I'm going to go back to the weekly chart, and actually I'll go move to my other Doge chart. So let's see what that one revealed. Okay, this one's on, no, not that one. Finance, okay. All right, weakness revealed in February. No breakout. Okay, we talked about that one last time. Let me continue going on. All right, in this chart, I still didn't denote this area. I got a support here based on some of this stuff. So let me confirm the strength of this oscillation through its reverberation. I'm going to just borrow one of these real quick and just give a quick test. Small response. Large response here. Response support here. That's good. Check. All right. So this angle and this oscillation, meaning price playing between this area and this top, is somewhat powerful. So this is somewhat good news for Doge in the short term. Okay. I'm still going to give you the mixed phantom oscillation. So the mixed tiger, I should say, analysis. I'm going to draw the mid phantom, which is approximately about right there. And this is going to give us it's still going to highlight this area as our target. So what I'm doing here in this example is if this is the main oscillation that price is playing on, we just duplicate that oscillation to the top side. Okay, that gives us targets up here closer to this area for Doge. Okay, so that means we're looking for higher prices for Doge, provided it can continue within this area. Okay, so we're going to be looking for high. Triple J saying, yep. Okay, thank you, Triple J. So at the moment, I'll leave that back on so you guys can just quickly see what I'm talking about. Now, to have this happen, we need a health to occur on Doge to actually get us higher. But we're past this vortex. I don't think we're going to get up to this vortex right now. So we're just going to continue moving along the track to see where the next supports are. And I think we're going to be coming up to, so I'm just going to give you some of these extreme numbers. It's around $101. Now, I'm not still saying we can't hit some of these prophetic numbers up here. I think Triple J had a number up here, $1.10, $1.10, 120 to 125, somewhere up there. Those are some of the numbers Triple J has. I think that's her number, yeah. Yep, 110 and the 120, 125. Still in that same general area. We'll see what can happen. Okay, as we denoted, when we're spiking on one side heavily, don't be surprised if we can tack that on at the end. So now let's go back to a more accurate map. These angles here are not powerful as price is not respecting them. So we're going to delete some of these. We don't really need them. To clean up our chart. Yep, there we go. So now we're at a low, not exactly the bottom, but we're at a low, 16 cents. Currently it's at, 17 cents. Yeah, 17 cents with prices coming down to our low areas. Okay. Let's now highlight still where those next weaknesses are. So if I start seeing prices building underneath this weakness area, I know to jump ship of Doge somewhere down here. Okay. Although I'm not really looking for prices to go that low at the moment. It's still on the map and on the board. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys all those prices. Let me make myself full screen. Okay. All right. Now let's do a little more. I'm going to show you. Yep. I really like this high volume as we got past this area. It's a strong push. And I also like in the macro these two things. In the macro, I'm going to show you real quick what I like about Doge. I like that we have harmony in Doge, and that's a very powerful thing. Okay, we have harmony, and I'll show you where it is. Here's the harmony. When the market is in its down movements, we teach about this on Wednesdays when we're doing our volume tutorials. When we're in our down movements, the market has a strong lack of interest. Okay, and I'll show you. And when we have our up movements, we have a strong buying, a strong increase of volume, not exactly at the tops, but overall. And that's what's important in this section. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. From here to here, the market is decreasing. The volume is decreasing. And then the next down movement segment that we had, the market's decreasing. This segment here, the volume is still decreasing. And this time as well. So every time that the markets are moving down, we're seeing a response. They're not interested. Lack of interest. Okay. They're letting us know we don't want lower prices. The market's saying, I don't want lower prices at this moment. Now, it's harmony if we find two or more of these. And I have so far 4. On the upside, I have an up move with an increase in volume. Up move, increase in volume. Up move, increase in volume. In addition to that, relative to each other, and I haven't taught this, but relative to each other, the volume's still also increasing. It's telling us this is harmony. The market's telling us we want higher prices. So the sentiment is one component to how markets work. And it's telling us we want higher prices. So in the macro view, macro VSA view, the market is bullish. In a bullish market, it's quite simple to take advantage of. All you do is you hunt the down move. In this case, your down move is going to reveal where you can take some of the trades. So for example, if you're hunting these moves, you take a bullish trade here, you take a bullish trade here, and our next foundational area is going to be somewhere there. So you draw your foundational areas and you can take your trades in kind. Okay, right now we don't really have a strong option to take a buy right now. There may be support coming up or support, but it doesn't alone constitute a trade. Okay, some people, they buy regardless at every support. I don't recommend it. I wait until we phase through or we break through to the side, and then you can take your trade in kind. Okay, but right now that's basically all you have to do to hunt some of your bullish trades. Okay, so right now you wait. Okay. For Doge, we don't really own Doge. You wait, but it's a good place to be. Okay, so that's one good place to be. Now I'm going to perform one more analysis on this crypto, and I'm going to show you what analysis it is. Okay. I'm not going to do the micro VSA, but I'll leave that there. I am going to draw this angle here. Okay, there's an angle I'm going to be drawing based on these energy centers. Now, at the moment, I don't know if it's at the wick here or the core, but I'm going to test both of them. But there's a parabolic that acts like this. If my initial default, when I duplicate this parabolic, is not straight down and I'm not getting a response, if I bring it here, I'm not getting a response for this area. And if I bring it higher, I'm not getting a response because I'm cracking through the lows of this area right here. So I don't want to do that. Okay. If I'm not getting a response, that tells me I'm dealing with two separate angles. And this is going to be either something larger, but I need to pay attention to what it might be. It could be an extra parabolic that's different than this angle, as denoted by two separate colors. Otherwise, if it's a set, as I taught in 5.0, we keep it as a set. In either case, I'm just going to assume right now it's something like this. Okay, just for default, I'm going to draw this angle here. Okay, now I'll be more accurate. And this is a little bit advanced, but I do have a tutorial about this. It's called Mix Phantom. Mix Phantom. So type in Mix Phantom, or on our lessons page, look for that. And what I'm looking for is at the relevant energy centers, either here or here. What I'm looking for is the baby between this angle and this angle. One's straight and one's flat. Okay. Right now, this is what I believe is going to be the case. The baby is going to be a mixture between these two. And the way we're going to draw this with our art is called the scaffolding method. In the scaffolding, we just draw some straight lines, okay, to get the parabolic. Now you can do this in art using a 2-point perspective. You cannot use this in 3-point perspective in art, but this is just construction lines, okay, to help us get a feel for where we're going and what this is doing, okay? So this is why we call sword method in art, because there's an art to it. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so the scaffolding method is where we just now pay attention. We draw some straight scaffolding, and we're going to draw a halfway marker here between these lines, and we're going to mark where that is. I'll just use green. So halfway there, halfway of this one is about right here, halfway is about right here, halfway is here, and so forth and so on until we get halfway. So this is how we draw it, and you can eyeball it. Eventually it's going to form an angle. This angle that you draw is a baby. It's not exactly this curve, and it's not exactly this straight. It's curved, and you can see where that curve starts going out. Now we can use this curve for two things. You can use it for weakness, and you can use it for health. Okay. If prices bounce up, I'm going to pay attention to this curve. But more so than all of that, we're going to use it the same way we use the tiger. The tiger, we look for the smaller oscillations and we match them on tops and bottoms to see if we're getting a response. So once this is all done, I'm going to take this angle here and I'm going to duplicate it out, which maybe I'm going to delete my scaffolding. Okay. Yeah, that's going to help me. Okay. Now I'm going to take my angle. I'm going to duplicate this angle out the same way we do our Tiger module, and I'm going to bring it to the tops and bottoms of the relevant energy center to test for verification. So if I, in other words, bring it to this top straight up in this area, it's going to give me some kind of testimony back here. Same with the bottoms. If I'm doing it, it's going to give me some kind of testimony. So if I bring it to the bottom, it should testify on the bottom, and it should also testify somewhere at the smaller areas. Now the reason I'm telling you this, okay, is because the more verifications we have, the more we can use it to our advantage to understand what's happening. So that's very accurate. Good. Oh my gosh, did it just delete my angle? It just deleted everything. It just deleted everything. Why did it delete everything? All right, I'm going to do this for real life real quick on a duplicate chart as to not confuse you guys. So time me. Start the watch. Doge, Binance, clear the lines, delete everything. Weekly chart. Angle on top, angle on bottom. Hybrid, which is our tiger. Cloned out, verifications, which is at the reverbs. 1, 2, 3. Some. No response there. Good. And good. 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 This is correct. All right. So this is all taught in our Tiger lesson. So if you guys are watching Tiger, type in lessons, Tiger analysis lesson module. The same thing we're doing is, this is just a slightly advanced because we're using a different Tiger, but I'll show you how to use for verifications. All right. So all the verifications are checking out that this is an oscillation is at play. Now I use this equation, as it were, to help me during times when I cannot figure out if the oscillation is at one angle or the other, if it's straight or curved or parabolic. In some rare cases, this is where we use this technique. And in this case, Doge seems to be having two dominant oscillations, maybe one flat, maybe one parabolic, maybe one straight. Whatever the case is, more immediate response is the analysis that gets you the most verification. In this case, I'm going to say it is active, okay? So what I'm going to look at now is duplicating my key angle, okay, duplicating my tiger, and I'm going to bring it now to our lowest energy centers to find supports. That one's already at play, so now I'm going to use the wick side. It's here at play, so therefore where my bottom is actually here, approximately. That's all that's what that gives me, the conclusion. Okay, so this is therefore a bottom for Doge, and it may be strong, but it's somewhere in this area, and I'll give you some, like a general price range. Okay, I'm going to do this as a square in green. Now there is margin of error when you do this. There is a margin of error, but you're trying to get very close to the ballpark to find your bottoms. Okay, but that's basically how you do it. Okay. Now I won't answer questions about the technique. That's found in our lessons page. Type in lessons in our search bar for recent posts, and it's going to type you all that. But does anybody have any more questions regarding something more immediate for Doge? Okay. I hope these map techniques help you. They're a little bit advanced, but they're going to give you guys some of the right to look out for when it comes to the biggest, scariest stuff that's coming up in crypto or something. Let's the healths before they come in and as they come in. Going once. You can unmute your mic. Going once. Go ahead. Hey, Ann. Oh, who's that? Yeah. Good morning.
Hello. Yeah. We don't have any rounding thus far, do we?
No, not I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess previously we did wick below that parabola, but yeah. Do you think that there's a chance it'll give us some rounding, or do you think it could just go straight up, or do you think it might wick below, or what's your thoughts on that?
I'll let you know in just a sec. By the way, the whole mixed tiger analysis that we just performed is very similar to gesture. It's very similar to our gesture lesson. Okay, very similar. I'm going to say that I'm gonna be looking for some type of rejection here. Let's do a quick fixed range volume profile target system and see if it points to any of this at the bottom. Okay, we quite the response on with our target system. Quite the response in the beginning. Price came down, spiked it exactly, then came down, spiked below, but you can see that we were trying to round and survive up there. Eventually there was not enough. I'm guessing there was too much volume. Yep, too much volume on the downside that tells us there's too much of a market below, and sure enough we came down lower, but still we're coming down on lack of interest. So that's a good sign that the market, that this is a correction. So that means that you're going to be able to catch it. You guys are going to be able to catch it. This is a weekly chart only, so I'm going to be looking for a weekly chart close. You can see the daily chart doesn't have that curve. It's just prices going above, so you only see this if you draw the weekly chart. You can only see that's the watch line primarily on the weekly chart. So there's a disconnect between the weekly and the daily chart. So don't be surprised if it gets a little bit messy at the bottom, okay? Now, with this said, these targets are a little bit lower on the low side. You can see that the next target below is down here at 11 cents. So right now, not only do I not have a permission to take a bullish trade, but it's not looking so good, still shorter term. Okay, still shorter term. We're talking maybe the next month. We may see Doge continue to do a little bit low or spike quickly some of these lower targets. It could be just the top side, but with this bottom being here in play, it's a strong bottom. Okay, it's a larger bottom, and it's denoted by maybe a few trend lines. Now let's see if I can adjust it ever so slightly, but it looks like it's still in the same general area. But it's, yeah, so it's going to be about somewhere about right here at 11 cents. So at the moment, I'm not going to be super bullish Doge, but I am going to be looking for things to change. Now, that's harsh because it's at 17 right now. I don't have any option for a short at the moment. I don't have enough structure or candles to get me a short, although it's starting to go up. I'm going to be a little bit careful regarding taking Doge. I'm not so clear about it yet, and I'm not in an area where there's bullish, so I'm not going to be careful of shorts. But it is a support. So if we do bounce here or we end up rounding, it's possible, okay? It's possible. But at the moment, it's not really my cup of tea, so I'm going to stay away from it until I have a more clear signal, one way or the other. Okay? We can break it down further, and maybe we'll look again on it Monday, but today I'm not looking for it to do something super fantastic. I'm still only hunting the down moves. In this case, the current down move is a flat. And it could be there, but it's basically just somewhere about right there if I'm going to eyeball it. So I'm going to give you that number. All right. Thank you guys for being with me so far. Today's video is sponsored by coffee. If you like coffee, get some coffee at a store near you, I think. One man in his journey for coffee. Will he find what he's looking for? Or will it end in tragedy? Next time on ChartRoom. XOR. Alright, there we go. Okay, now we're going to go to click on logarithmic. We're going to go to full screen, and then we're going to change it to candles. Oh, I'll just click technical analysis. That's going to pull up the trading view version of whatever, or wherever the location is this. All right. Now we're going to make sure we click on log at the bottom for log. You guys can't see this, but I'm going to show you. Okay, near at the bottom, this is where we're going to choose from logarithmic because it's going to default to regular. We're going to click on L for log, or just go to the setting and click on logarithmic. Okay. All right, we're left with a shape that is a lot like this. I did a few analysis of this in the past, and when further weakness came in, I'll let you also know about that, so you guys remember those. And we want to see health on this chart. That's the number one thing we want to see. So to see that, we're going to first watch our foundational areas. Now this is where it looks like the clocks I used to tell you about. Okay, where you have multiple accelerated adjustments. This one comes out, and this lets us know we're going to have problems in there in the future. So we're going to pay attention to that track underneath that line. Keep watching that one. The other thing you're going to be watching out for is some of the more foundational watch lines, not just this angle, but also this angle. Okay, that's going to be our accelerated adjustment for that. And then there's one more accelerated adjustment. It's going to be here, and this is going to be another angle. We're going to be some more watching these area. Now this is on coin per pica, so I have to be a little bit more careful. I have to be careful, and I want to try to collect as many points as possible for this last one, so we can use it to determine any new health points, so we can try to find an entry. And I think it's going to be a collection of these 3 points here. So I'll draw it for you, and we'll use another color. We'll use blue. Come, and this is a collection of 3 points. Core here, and then and the core up there, and then this is going to be the wick. Okay, so this is going to give us some type of health that may be appearing now. Now it's hard to see on this chart, but we're basically right there right now. So that might be the first signs that this is a positive territory. Although it's a lot of zeros, it's like beyond the chart what it's showing. So we're going to zoom in a little bit and see what we can find here in this area. Okay. Is there any more data to this? Is this showing this is delisted too? Because I'm just seeing 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. What's going on here? Let's go to a...
Maybe it's too low.
Can somebody confirm that for me? If it's completely 0, that is a lot. Wait, that's more zeros then. That's just going to be delisted. Yeah, this is probably reading something like it's delisted. It's just 0, 0. Did anybody have that? Is that what you guys see too? There's a price on here. It's some kind of trading activity.
I've fallen.
I can share information with you. I've shared before.
Are you guys pranking me when you did this? When you asked for this chart?
No. There's a lesson to be learned here, so I've got a big lesson.
Share it. Share the lessons.
Yeah. So if you go to their website, the Zora network is active, and they're creating new cryptos and everything. But in code, they say this XOR crypto, which was their native crypto. In code, they say this one's being used to raise funding for our activities.
Okay.
So they're just printing XOR out to watch it. They now have 464 zillion. So every time you can go buy a zillion of them, and they're just donating money to their projects to fund. Now, whether that's legal or not, it is in there. If you research it, it's there. Although it's kind of in code. But can someone just sit there and do that and get away with it?
You're basically changing the rules of the game.
I don't know if they had that always in their XOR, but they certainly had it the last 3 or 4 months when I researched it, and it was obvious that they were using this to fund projects.
Wow. Projects.
So
projects.
Yeah, to fund their activities that they're doing. And they're doing other activities with other coins, but not this one. They're using it to raise money.
Okay. How is something supposed to go up in value if they're just printing more? This is why inflationary models such as the US dollar, where they're just continuing to print new money every time, makes you have less and less buying power. Inflation is the hidden tax. It's a way to rob somebody. The Bible tells us that God despises false weights and measures. Meaning, what would happen is you would go into town and you would buy your grain or bread. And the grain bread was at a certain price worth in metal. So that metal could be measured in copper, silver, gold, and even others at certain times. Or even worth a certain amount of whatever price is the price of grain that you may be selling. You could trade and barter grain, and you would measure the weights of those on your chart. You would measure it on your scale. So the scales would measure against a certain weight of metal. What would happen is, what God says, I despise when the weight is off. So the measures would be fake. They would be worth more or heavier and worth less. But metal has always weighed the same per ounce per gold. It is one of the most densest metals on planet Earth. And God said when he created Adam, there's the gold of the land. The gold of the land is good. So something that God had designed into creation, into the story of man, is gold. And its weight. Gold has a certain density to it. You can't change the density for the most part, it's very difficult to change the density of gold. It's almost nigh impossible. When you melt it down per volume, it's going to be basically the same shape every single time and be worth the same amount. It's when we change those, when we hollow at that, when you change it on the back end, it robs somebody on the fore end. Okay? We now have a false weight, either heavier or lighter, but we're changing something on the back end. The person who's coming to the transaction to buy is saying, hey, I want to buy this much worth of rug or carpet or house or meat or this, and they say, okay, pay me this much in weight. But if they change the rules of the game, if they change the weight, then they're actually robbing you from the fair price of whatever the price of that market is. In this case, it's a type of evil manipulation. So one of the ways we need to see and search for that kind of false weights or measurements is in inflationary models. When we went away from the gold standard, we actually paved the way for all of this nonsense to happen anyway. We went away from gold. Dollars were worth a certain amount of gold. You could redeem them for a certain amount of gold. That gold was set. And the only determines, the gold price was determined by the collective universal world view of how much gold is worth around the whole world. So the world sets the price for gold. It's not just one country, because gold is universal. I can go to any country and cash out. In an inflationary model, your dollar keeps getting worth less and less as they print more on the back end. In other words, they're changing the rules. So if you're trying to buy wheat or whatever you're trying to buy, when you move away from a set standard, a weight, then now you're opening up for infinite. So when somebody buys their XOR in this example, they say XOR is worth this much money in United States dollars or in whatever country, or even gold itself. But if they're printing on the back end, they're changing the weight on the back end. Okay, they're adding less and less weight. Oh, now you have to have more money just to equal that same. And this is a way to rob you after you buy the fact. This is not normal. This doesn't reflect the normal market value for something that somebody views something as worth. So, for example, a crypto like XRP will go up and down depending on how much you think it's worth. Price of eggs will go up based on supply and demand and how much something is worth. But if it's being printed on the back end, it's stealing from you. You could be asleep and it's taking value from it. That's not reflected in the actual sentiment of the market. It's a way to steal by the person facilitating the transaction. In this case, XOR, the Sora company itself, who's deciding, oh, we're going to print. Now, this is a great lesson that Armin teaches us today, because if we find cryptos and we search that they have a mechanism that allows for or provides for ability to print on the back end, that's a no-no, and we have to catch those in advance. I don't know all the cryptos. There's millions of cryptos that exist. But if we find projects that have it in their white papers or have it in their rules that they are allowed to do this, don't be surprised if they take advantage of that. When gold standard first got taken away, the president at the time said, don't worry, we're going to give you value of gold. And then there was a gold confiscation. So only people who didn't get their gold confiscated is those who didn't report it. But by and far, in the United States, there was a gold confiscation. They said, you have to turn in your gold. We're going to give you, don't worry, we're going to give you the same market value in paper money. But it wasn't long before that they said, okay, now turn on the printing machine. And the printing machine started going, and everyone's dollar was like, we're fine because it's all the same, right? But then they started printing out more, and more was secretly coming into the market. Maybe not so secret. It was coming into the United States. So everybody woke up one day, and they worked their whole lives for $6,000, and now $6,000 doesn't even get you a whole year. And that was your retirement plan. And they stole that by printing more on the back end, by moving to a system that God hates. Now, God says, I despise false weights and measures. If this is the case, we know that a wealth transfer includes a return back to righteousness when it comes to financial matters. All markets should have a fair-based what you think the market's worth. But gold was the one thing that is set by metal density. It was a standard. So I would expect for wealth transfer communities to be looking for gold to one day have a revaluation. This includes countries that have devalued or moved away from a gold standard. Don't be surprised if we come back to a level playing field, and even XRP itself in the future will be worth gold or a weight in gold. Look for those to be the things that stabilize markets. Gold will break the banks. Gold and silver break the banks. The fraud that's all being committed by all the schemes, they're shuffling numbers around, fudging the numbers in various ways. So many ways they can do this. All of that's going to come to an end when we get to ISO standards, when we get to silver and gold standards, going back to a metal-based system because metals are based on weight. And we'll end with this scripture. Okay. Okay, one moment. Okay, this is going to be found in a few places. Proverbs chapter 20, verses 10. False weights and unequal measures. The Lord...
Free prayer guide.
Free prayer guide. Look, I can't even grab the screen. Okay. False weights and unequal measures. The Lord detests double standards of every kind. It doesn't matter if the product that you're selling or whatever is not a good product. It's a standard. If people don't want it, they don't want it. They don't have to buy it. But when you have two sets of standards, okay, this is where you throw off people. You manipulate the market, because if you don't rob them this way or you don't like the market this way, you can change the market by changing the rules. You have two sets of standards, and the Lord detests it. All right? Amen. Okay, I think that was all. Now, I'm going to take requests for Monday, and I'll be back on Monday. All right, guys, if you have requests, I'm going to check the chat to see if you have requests. I'll be back Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I was just going to say, I'm at this tournament. So anyways, a buddy and I wrote a book on guiding your child's athletic journey. And it took us about a year and a half to write. But my background is in basketball, basically. And my buddy runs a Christian high school and coaches basketball also. And we've noticed that there's so much intensity and passion around youth sports from the parents, and sometimes that can be good, and sometimes there are some real wounds that happen, as sometimes the old phrase, hurt people. Parents are just people too, and sometimes there's some things that happen to them or around youth sports with them, and maybe there's pressure, they're yelling, or sometimes there's even the other side of the scale, there's apathy, just disinterest and disengagement. And so anyways, we took some time to write this book, and we wrote it secularly because there's about 45 million kids per year in the United States alone that participate in youth sports. 45 million. And our prayer is that the hearts of the sons to the fathers, the hearts of the fathers to the sons. That's scripture, which of course for us applies to mothers and daughters too. I'm like a man I know. I'm happily married to a Filipina, and the whole parental engagement and relationship around stuff that really matter to kids. Love sports, and it's a venue that for most kids you can't get the passion and the love in math class that you can on a soccer field or on a basketball court or on a football field. So anyways, just wanted to share the good news that by the grace of God we're done. It's available.
Now, would you be able to share a link to the book, the chat, and then I'll also make sure it's included in today's dive in the description, in the video area?
Sure, I'm copying it right now. I'll put it in. I really appreciate you doing this. I never thought that I would do this in this venue, that I'd share it with you guys. But thank you, Jason, for letting me share it with you guys. And one of the things that really helps, I guess, authors, I've never been an author, is if you go to Amazon, if you read it and you think there's value in it, I'd really appreciate a good review. And as my mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So we just want to bless some parents. Help them on their journey. So thank you, and thank you, Jason. I really appreciate this.
Well, thank you, Alex. We're so glad. The link is in the description. If you would like to support our comrade Alex in his amazing journey, we really appreciate him. Some of you are familiar with Alex, and he's quite popular in certain circles, we might want to say. And the book is called Guiding Your Child's Athletic Journey. So Guiding Your Child's Athletic Journey. Alex Compton, Kevin, and Delafo, you guys can look at this book. It looks like it's going to be $20 paperback, and even a Kindle version for $10. I have a Kindle. I might pick up the Kindle, but might pick up a paperback instead. I don't know. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do. But I'm glad. Thank you so much, Alex. We appreciate your contributions to our community with your wisdom, with your knowledge, and especially with your friendship. We also appreciate everyone here today who's supporting our ministry. If you would like to give tithe and offering to our ministry, you can. In every one of our YouTube videos, there's a link to give in the description. And give us unto the Lord and give what the Lord puts in your heart. Thank you for supporting us beyond just your subscription to Dive. We try to make it accessible for everybody. It's only $18 for the full month. Thank you guys for joining us for our journey for today. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for WordRoom, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for WordRoom. And I thank you everybody who supported us because we were able to get Starlink. There's a lot of ministry expenses that come sometimes behind the scenes with our Descript, Ecamm, with the Trading View, and you guys supporting us is really good. We just make a joke. We're not really sponsored by coffee. Coffee doesn't do anything for us. I'm sorry, it does. Coffee does do things for us. I'm sorry, coffee. Don't mean to offend you. But guys, I'm just being silly. Let's say a closing prayer. Father, we thank you for this wonderful day, for this wonderful time. I pray that you give people peace in the markets. I pray that you give them clarity, give them insights, give them inside information through the Spirit. I also pray that you give us much peace. Lord, let us be a good witness for you, a good example. I thank you, Lord, for the Word Room today. I thank you, Lord, for the Word Room tomorrow. And I pray that you would bless the hearts and the souls of the people that are here. Let them be successful in all of their endeavors. Prepare them for their purposes. Prepare the character. Prepare the lives that need to work together. And I pray that you would pave the way. I pray that you would pave the way for all the things that you will do by the Spirit. And through your Spirit, may we be ready to receive an inheritance beyond all we can ask or think. I pray that we would not be corrupted by the blessings that you give us. Let us learn the lessons from our fathers. Let us learn the lessons from the past, from history, from the Word of God. Let us learn our lessons that we have, even so that we don't be like the dog who returns to its vomit, as the Scripture says. Let us not be a person or a character, a type of people that are turning our back from you. As we read today in Ezekiel, chapter 16, of the woman who was adorned, but later on continued to read that she ran away, even though you did everything for her. The same way you have prepared us. Let us not, even though you've done so much for us, run away from you, from your Spirit, like Jonah. Or, as the Bible says, Paul said, lest I run my race, lest I be disqualified. Let us continue our athletic journey through you, not giving up, but pushing ourselves. As Paul preached that we've run the race like in the Olympics, he says. And he actually taught about the Olympics in the Bible. But it's a very valid principle because it teaches us that we train to win not a prize, not a crown that is temporary, but a crown that's everlasting. And that's the race we won. That's the race we will win. That's the race you paid for. Let us run in your footsteps. We thank you. We praise you. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you guys.